little bit of that. These guys have been front line all the way. Chris Sale always good. And let's not forget Martin Perez, who took the ball with short rest. It was extremely inspiring for everybody. I love the passion. How about our John Foy, strong arm of the law, talking to Walt Weiss. He said, Paul, they've been good all year. The numbers don't lie, and sometimes they get overlooked because some of the guys don't have maybe as big a name as somebody else. But he said, I don't care about names, and I'm going to tell you this, I don't care either. Walt Weiss saying they matched up against 3 bona fide aces in New York with the Yankees, and they fared very well on that mound against those guys. It felt like playoffs. Yes, playoffs. We're not there yet, but it's a stretch run. Let's charge in August. I got David White in the truck tonight. Brandon, CJ on hot sticks. Game 1 versus the Mets. Bryce Elder, his trademark cutter, is on the hill. Let's charge, guys. See you in a few.
Whataburger's coming in hot with a bowl.
Like Comcast Business. Bravos are back at home on a sunshiny Monday evening. Game number 119 of 162 here in the 2026 campaign. 87 degrees as we get ready for a 7:15 first pitch here in Atlanta, Georgia tonight. The New York Mets in town, 52-67. They had the manager change late in June. Andy Green, 18-20 since taking over as the skipper, and this is the lineup he's going to trot out there tonight. A.J. Ewing, Francisco Lindor, and Bo Bichette will be the first 3 to face that man, Bryce Elder. He's been on a good run. See if he can make it another quality start tonight.
Yeah, I think some adjustments here that have gotten Bryce Elder back to where he was at the beginning of the season when he was absolutely dominating. What he has done with his cutter usage, changeup as well. But he's been good. He's been in a good spot. He's been filling up the strike zone, and something we always kind of expect for Bryce Elder is when he gets on these rolls, we just always assume it's going to be a quick, easy 6 innings, but he makes it look easier than it is sometimes.
What do you have for the Ford Keys tonight?
Well, nobody likes getting kicked to the curb, but that's kind of what happened to Bryce Elder's changeup. He was throwing the kick changeup, and he said it was a better changeup. He just couldn't throw it as consistently as he wanted to, so we went back to the other one with the higher spin. It's also been really good. And 0-0 is an 0-no for Christian Scott. Batters on the first pitch of an at-bat have a 1,300 OPS against him, and he has allowed 4 home runs on the first pitch of an at-bat. So maybe for the Braves, attacking a guy like Christian Scott tonight might be key.
So the last 4 for Bryce Elder, we mentioned how good he has been. Specific to those starts, we're going to look at the arsenal, CJ.
And take a look at the overall arsenal, but yes, this is over the last 4. So 36% on that sinker. What you're going to notice is that some of the cutter has come up and the slider has gone down. That's been the exchange here lately for Bryce Elder. And to righties specifically, getting some swing and miss on that cutter. It's been good. He did not throw that cutter to righties at all his first 9 starts of the year, not once. And the good news is nobody got kicked out before the game today.
That was Chris Sale yesterday, but he's back. So the Braves face the New York Yankees in New York. Now the Mets of New York come to Atlanta. And the final series between these 2 rivals of the season is underway.
I feel like we got the better end of that deal. Us going to New York or New York coming to us. Sign me up for more Truist Park time.
The Braves so good in this ballpark, 39-20, and on a 9-game win streak here at home at the moment as well. A.J. Ewing leading things off. There's your home plate umpire, Corey Blazer.
Corey Blazer has been good. Top half of umpires when it comes to calling balls and strikes. The only area in which he has gotten a little bit big has been down, and it's mostly been down and away to either hitter. So down and away to a lefty or down and away to a righty, which Bryce Elder would take. He's the kind of pitcher that likes that area.
Ripped off the bat of A.J. Ewing. He's going to turn and head to second, and that ball gets stuck. The bottom of the fence, so Acuna throws his hands up. and it'll just be 2 bases for A.J. Ewing.
That's the right choice there. I mean, went all the way in underneath, and so for Ronald, he would have had to do some work and run the risk of not being able to field that cleanly. It's a cutter. It's on the black inside. Not a bad pitch at all, but A.J. Ewing opens up and gets to it. Watch this thing just kind of settle underneath. That's the right call by Ronald.
So A.J. Ewing, his 22nd birthday today, and he begins it with his 16th double of the season.
So now Andy Green wants to talk about it. He's wasting everybody's time. Nothing's going to change. Well, we'll see. Now Andy Fletcher. And they're saying, well, if he could have went out and got it as cleanly as he did, why does that count as a lodged ball? Because it's underneath that kind of a little bit of an overhang that you get.
Here is the crew chief.
The ball was not lodged in the outfield wall. I'm sorry. Correction. The call in the field was the ball was lodged in the outfield wall. New York is challenging.
So you can just flat out challenge that, or are they asking for a crew chief review?
Yeah, I don't know why that would be challengeable.
I'm going to guess, based on how that started for Andy Fletcher, that there may have been a misstep in a couple of the words as I trip over my own.
But I also think, based on how the rule is written, if a ball gets stuck underneath there, even if you can go technically and get it, that is lodged there. That there's no.
Look how far underneath.
That's far underneath there. That's a 2-base hit. That's all it is.
It's there for the drainage and giving you space, and there's no way that, unless there's a ground rule that we're unaware of here at Truist, but that makes perfect sense that they called it the way that he did. And plus, he stopped anyway.
Well, an interesting start to this ball game here in the series with the New York Mets.
And if they were to say it wasn't, then they're going to use their judgment and say, what, it's still going to be a double. No, I mean, if Ronald goes in and gets it, it's a double. A.J. Ewing never got to third base.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You're right. He slowed up right around second. So if you're going purely on judgment, it's a double anyway, I would think. I don't see how they would turn this into a triple.
And there's a part of me that does not believe that this is a actual New York Mets challenge. I'm more asking them to be an umpire review, right, crew chief?
Yep. It's tough for Bryce Elder. He's trying to stay warm out there.
That's what it is. You get all kind of locked in for your start, and you get going here, and 4 pitches in, you have a lengthy, what feels like unnecessary delay. Obviously, every ballpark is different, so we talk about the grounds rules, right, for each ballpark, and I feel like this one should be pretty clear and laid out. And usually they talk about these things before the game starts, especially first game of the series.
Just surprised how long this is taking. Andy Fletcher waiting on New York.
They're not looking at the ball at a bunch of different angles. They're looking through rules right now.
Yeah. Because the video is as clear as day.
Yep. I think Ronald did the right thing, right? He would have went in there trying to fight. You could even see it slip a little bit more underneath at the end. Ronald knows he's outfield walls as good as anybody. And watch A.J. Ewing here, and he sees the call, and so he just pulls up. But I say it often, the longer these things go, the more nervous I get.
I thought New York would instantly say that's a double. Let's move on. Clearly, you're right. They're thumbing through everything and trying to determine if this should be 3 bases for A.J. Ewing.
Who's got the Truist Park rule book? Someone's in the back looking for it. What are the ground rules there?
Man, for Elder, though, this is just brutal.
Yeah. Bordering unacceptable, quite honestly, in a way to start a game.
Look, sometimes we say this in these moments. For something like this, there needs to be a time limit.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. The ball was not lodged under the wall. It was sitting underneath the padding, not lodged into the padding. The runner has been awarded second base. New York will retain their challenge.
Oh, I'm blown away because, yes, I understand the definition of lodge, but it goes down 2 to 3 inches. That's a part of the wall where the drainage system is.
Yeah.
I don't understand why that's not a double.
Yeah, and so what he is saying is that the rule states that you have to go in and get that baseball, which is really surprising.
Which surprises, yes.
That ball at that point is completely covered, especially there in front. Now, where Ronald's standing now, you can make a little bit more of a case. But right there where the ball actually went, where you have the chain link fence and the bigger pads, that ball is underneath a pad. Is it lodged? No, but you got to go underneath the pad to get the baseball. There's no way that should be expected. And Andy Green is making his case and saying, well, why does he get second base? And what a monster waste of time this is.
Meanwhile, Bryce Elder's had to throw about 20 warm-up pitches here. Lindor will be the batter. Again, Ewing, after all of the semantics, is out at second base. And eight minutes later, we're ready for baseball.
And I wonder the technicality of the ball actually not being lodged, right? I mean, it's moving around, but it's clearly in a place where a fielder should not be expected to have to go pick it up cleanly.
And we are back underway as Elder now faces Lindor. Now, Lindor has had some success against Bryce Elder. 6 for 13, a couple of homers and a couple of doubles mixed in there for the Mets shortstop. This time a ground ball to Ozzie Albies. There's one out, and after all that, Ewing is at third base. Let's take a look at the racetrack defense for the Atlanta Braves. You know, Acuña's in right. Dubon and Harris join him in the outfield. Mauricio getting a day off up in New York. Riley Jarvis, Ozzie Olsen, and Sean Murphy back behind the dish. Infield coming in with one out here in the top of the first and Bo Bichette at the plate.
I do wonder for Andy Green and thinking about A.J. Ewing in this situation. You are always taught as a base runner, just keep running. Go ahead and run all the way across home plate. They'll put you back at second if they say that the ball was lodged. He did stop, so that might have had something to do with the fact that he did not get rewarded anything past second base.
Bichette RBI single through the left side to put New York on top. Well, Bichette was 5 for 5 yesterday and drove in 3, and he continues his hot hitting.
Yeah, he's been swinging a really good bat. Two-seam fastball here from Bryce Elder. It's not a bad one. Just ball run down and in, and he got the ground ball. It's just with the infield being in, it turns into that RBI single.
It's the other thing to consider. For as much as this Mets team has struggled this year and being 15 games under 500, they do come in playing arguably their best ball of the season. They've won 5 of 6, and their offense over the last week has been much improved.
You cannot take the New York Mets lightly. Obviously, the Braves, they haven't played them that well, right? 4-6 against the New York Mets in their 10 games coming into this one. And this is, at least from the offensive standpoint, a better version of the Mets right now.
That's that road trip to Cleveland. They swept Cleveland there and then took 2 of 3 in Pittsburgh. They won 11-1 yesterday over the Pirates. Murphy throws down, but Bichette is safe.
Now, they did put Devin Williams on the IL today before the game. The bullpen is light. They traded away a good amount of their bullpen. It seems like a good strategy for this series. The more you can make these starters work and try to get into that New York Mets bullpen, the better your chances will be.
Swinging 3-0, Carson Bench. And a lot of pitching gone at the deadline.
That's amazing, yeah. And Tyrone Taylor, the only position player, but look at those bullpen names. Pretty much wiped out everything Andy Green had.
Yeah, so some young, inexperienced arms in that pen. Payoff pitch, runner goes. It's, well, let's see what happens here. Was ruled a ball, and I don't think Sean Murphy's going to challenge it.
Oh, I thought he did challenge it. Oh, he didn't?
I don't think he did.
Oh.
So everybody's safe.
I thought he did. I thought that's where maybe there was a little bit of a pause, because I think this inning is over if he does.
You're right.
Very much looks like a strike right there. He made a great throw, nails the runner. Oh, what a difference.
Wow. That's a shame. That would have been the end of the inning. Instead, there are 2 on with 1 out. And now Jared Young from the left side.
It looked like there was some communication going on between Sean Murphy and Corey Blazer there, and I thought he had challenged or was asking about the timing of the challenge. I don't know, but obviously he did not.
What a strange top of the first inning.
And it's hard to do it. I will say this. I think for catchers, you got a runner going in that spot. And I get it. Sure, you have an idea whether or not the ball's a strike or not, but it's also not the same as opposed to being set up, looking at that pitch, getting a clean look. Like, it's a lot harder, I think, to make that decision to challenge when you're throwing to a base.
Yeah, it's tough when you're coming out of the crouch. I'm sure hindsight's 20/20, but that's probably one Murph is going to go back and regret. Let's see if Elder can get out of it without any more damage. Young lines it to right. Oh, Acuna at the last second slams on the brakes, and everybody's going to be safe. It's kind of one of those where he was in between, looked like he was going to get it, but unfortunately did not.
Yeah, I was going to take a dive, and this ball was hit pretty hard and sinking a little bit. These could be a challenge, and I think ultimately Ronald made the right decision. This is a cutter that is elevated here, so there's going to be some topspin. I think that's what Ronald realized late. A good time just to start this game over.
Yeah.
Just rewind.
Can we re-rack and wind to 7:15? Bases loaded here for Semien.
And as well as these guys have been playing, Marcus Semien over the last 15 games for the New York Mets has been really good. 865 OPS, 4 home runs for the veteran second baseman.
Really the first good stretch of his season. He also was out for almost a month with a strained left hip flexor that he said had been bothering him earlier in the year as well. But now he's healthy. One ball, 2 strikes. Elder's ahead here, but he also has not thrown a first pitch strike. That is very not like Bryce Elder. You wonder with the strange inning if that's thrown his rhythm off a bit.
He'd never make the excuse, but I absolutely believe that it would. Right, that's a difficult one. You have the long delay, and like really long. Right, not like your standard kind of challenge. Like it was taking too long. It was a little bit confusing as well. Probably didn't love the cutter and the way that whole thing ended up, and now we got bases loaded.
He does get the strikeout. A slider to get Semien.
A good looking pitch here, went in and out of the glove of Sean Murphy, but it didn't matter. It wasn't a foul tip. It was missed. And with the bases loaded, nowhere for Marcus Semien to run.
From the left side, Brett Beatty. Beatty puts it in the air, deep, right center. Oh, man, it is gone. It's a grand slam to make it 5-0.
slider here from Bryce Elder. And a little bit more of the get-me-over version as it finishes about thigh-high there to Brett Beatty. And we've noticed this with these younger Mets, and I know Brett Beatty's been around for a couple of years, but very aggressive early, but especially with runners in scoring position, and he did not let that one go by.
8th home run of the year for Beatty, and obviously that one just gigantic. Instead of 1-0, it makes it 5-0. And an inning that has had all these twists and turns. Seemed like Elder could have been out of it. Now he's going to try to get Polanco here. Off the end of the bat, Riley hustles, bobbles, inning continues.
Nothing Bryce Elder or Austin Riley really could do here. On the run, it's the exchange and where he lost the grip. Probably would have had Polanco. It's a tough play when you're running in, but we've seen Austin make these pretty consistently. Just one of those innings all of a sudden here for the Atlanta Braves.
It is an infield single for Polanco, so 5 runs on 5 hits. And now the 9th man in the order comes to the plate here in the first inning, Francisco Alvarez. Last 4 starts, Bryce Elder had given up the 5 earned runs, and now he's allowed 5 here in the first against the Mets tonight. And they will bat around, a single out to left center. Bring the top of the order to the plate here with 2 on and 2 out.
I don't think you're necessarily looking at this inning and saying, well, Bryce Elder is not throwing the baseball well. That's a good slider. It's off the end of the bat. The grand slam. Yeah, slider maybe just a little bit too much of a get me over first pitch strike slider. But hard to get away from 5 innings in the first and still batting here with now the leadoff hitter coming up again.
A.J. Ewing started the rally with that controversial double to right field. No balls and 2 strikes. So Christian Scott over there, long wait for their starter to take the field here.
Yeah, it's been a little bit better than what, 20 minutes since we saw the first pitch of this game. You try to time it when you're on the road. You're at the mercy, obviously, of the top of the first inning as far as how things go. And it's been a while, but hadn't gotten down in the tunnel or anything to throw. And hopefully, he'll come out rusty.
Bryce Elder also at 33 pitches, so if Ewing would reach, has to face another batter. You also have to start to keep that in mind as well. Out to right field, but Acuna should have this, and he does. But Brett Beatty's first career grand slam highlights a 5-run top of the first.
to deadline, and I need a reliable connection to.
Grand slam, making it 5-0. So the Braves, some work to do, but this is a powerful lineup. It starts with Drake Baldwin DHing tonight with Murphy catching, and Acuna and Olsen, who's been about as hot as anybody in baseball, back in that third spot of the order. And we mentioned that he's had to wait for a while, but the 27-year-old Christian Scott gets the start tonight.
Yeah, and he's been good. So this will be start number 17. In 15 of his 16 starts, it's been 3 runs or less for Christian Scott. Now, this is also just his 3rd start this year, as they're careful with him coming back from Tommy John surgery on regular rest.
And the Braves have seen him plenty this year. In fact, this is their 3rd time facing Scott in 5 weeks. So the Atlanta hitter's pretty familiar with this right-hander at this point.
Yeah, 0-3 with a 3.94 against the Braves in his career.
Line to left, but foul off the bat of Baldwin, 0-2. Baldwin hits this well. No one's going to get to that. That's a good response to start the bottom of the 1st. Leadoff double.
And he does it on an 0-2 pitch. This is the curveball that you get from Christian Scott. It is not where he wants to throw that pitch in an 0-2 strike. Excuse me, an 0-2 count. A strike to Drake Baldwin as he pulls this thing into right field. Really well done here, and chip it away, right? I mean, that's the idea when you get down big early, and it's a good way to get things started.
Came screaming off of Baldwin's bat at 106 miles per hour. So a man in scoring position for Acuna.
The other thing with Scott, and again, he's got good stuff, is that he doesn't get particularly deep in games, and he struggles with his pitch efficiency. He is up over 18 pitches per inning. I mentioned the struggles with his bullpen, and so this game, while it's only the 1st inning, you're down big, is far from over.
Ronald went. Yeah, that Tommy John surgery you mentioned last year, that's the reason they're being really cautious with Scott, because they think he has such a bright future. He made 9 starts in 2024. Then Tommy John surgery had him out last year. So tonight, just his 26th big league start.
And as I mentioned, so 6 innings only 1 time, and this is only his 3rd start on regular rest. It feels like they'd come in being pretty conservative with him based on where this season is right now for the New York Mets, what the future is for Christian Scott.
Acuna strikes out. The cutter gets him.
Mentioned a lot of different weapons, and you can see where his fingers are kind of on the side that almost has more like a slider spin but no depth to it. That's why it is a cutter. It is smaller and it is tighter there for Christian Scott, and that has been his best pitch when it comes to the lowest batting average against.
Olsen, another home run yesterday, 6 in the last 9 games for the Braves first baseman, and 34 on the season.
It's a fun one. I mean, they're all fun to watch, but to see him get to Cam Schlittler in the way he was throwing yesterday in that 7th inning and getting out in front of a 2-0 fastball was, like many of them, near triple digits. Actually, I think that one was 100, right?
It was. Yeah. Yep. 100 on the nose, and he hit it out right center, and now he's just 1 behind Schwarber and Alvarez for the major league lead. There's a hit up the middle. Baldwin had to wait. He will hold at third. But a couple of hits in the first 3 hitters against Scott here tonight.
And not just hits, but squared up and loud off the bat here. I know it just said 91, but that one sounded harder than that. It's going to be the sweeper, and look at that thing sitting much like the curveball that Drake Baldwin saw, right in the middle of the plate. That's good base running. You're not taking any unnecessary chances right now if you're the Atlanta Braves on the bases.
Cleanup man Michael Harris. Tonight they give away a jersey in his honor. It's a crossover jersey, football. It's a beauty. Folks lined up early for it. And now Harris at the plate. There it is. You'll be seeing a lot of those around town here over the next couple of weeks. He got 96 by him, 1-2.
And that's usually for Christian Scott where he'll go for most of the swing and miss. Right around half of his strikeouts, actually exactly half of his strikeouts have come on his four-seam fastball.
Braves trying to get at least some of that back here in the bottom of the first after giving up 5 in the top half. 97, so up a tick for Scott to strike out Harris. Defense for the Mets brought to you by Racetrack. Bichette, Lindor, Simeon, Young, third to first, and then Francisco Alvarez is a battery tonight for Christian Scott. Ozzie from the left side.
So we've seen the Braves with a couple of big hits here, left-handed hitters in Matt Olson and Drake Baldwin. When you look at what Christian Scott has done so far this year, OPS is nearly identical. Left-handed hitter, right-handed hitter. He actually walks less lefty. Strikeout rate about the same as well. But 6 of his 7 homers, they have been hit by lefties.
Ozzie 19 homers on the season. He only had 18 all of last year. Two 1 in the air, foul. Bichette will give it a look, but no play. Upstairs 3-2. So at least Scott is having to work here between the two pitchers. 55 pitches thrown here in the first.
Yeah, and again, you'd love to get one across the board right after kind of falling behind here early by 5, but certainly the pitch count helps as far as what this game plan should be tonight.
Over towards Birdie. He's got it in the well. That'll get him going.
I got it, guys.
All right.
CJ, I don't want to hear about having to field it cleanly either. I knocked that ball down.
You did.
Yeah, keep in front, make the play.
Time to make the play. I'm a grinder.
Another payoff pitch, another foul ball by Ozzie Albies.
Now we know, of course, Ozzie is trying to get a big hit right here, but his feelings probably aren't hurt having to make Matt Olson run a little bit with the banter we get back and forth with these guys. And he's thinking, man, just, I know you're going to hit a double. Just do it now. Stop wasting everybody's time.
Matty will start his wheels again here with 2 down and a full count. Going over Young, and another foul ball on the 8th pitch of the at bat. Most Bryce Elder starts are in the 5th inning right now. But we're at 35 minutes and counting here in the first. Braves trying to get on the board. And another one into the seats, foul.
So we got 4 sprints in for Matt Olson here. A sweeper again. He almost hung it a little bit too much there to Ozzie. Sometimes you get away with it if you leave it near the top as opposed to the middle.
Who is going to win this battle, Scott or Ozzie Albies? Pitch number 10 coming up. Staying alive. This crowd appreciates it. Nothing would be sweeter than Ozzie parking one in the chop house right here. 6 foul balls in this at bat. Pitch number 11. Inside. What a walk. What an at bat for Ozzie Albies.
So they're actually going to rule that a hit by pitch. Not that it matters, I think, either way, but apparently maybe it caught part of that jersey for Ozzie Albies. Clearly no reaction as far as it catching him with any of that skin. But you're going to watch your home plate umpire Corey Blazer right here. I mean, maybe a little bit of jersey. You saw it move, but he called it a hit by pitch.
Yeah, I think it just nicked that jersey.
Ozzie wants the walk. I mean, it all counts the same, right? But you're like, I want to get that walk total out. I barely nicked the jersey.
Now a meeting on the mound before Mauricio Dubon bats here.
We talk about this often. It is a good time for a meeting, right? You walk a guy after a long at bat. A lot of times you make a mistake first pitch, and that could be costly. But the Braves have got to find a way to cash something in here. With
Dubon coming up, our Zaxby's Who's Got the Sauce spotlights him, what he's done in his 5 starts here so far in August.
And the note there, too, doing it at 4 different positions. So, yes, he is swinging the bat well, but he has also been moved around and doing everything that Walt Weiss has asked of him.
Out in left field tonight, but right now the Braves looking for his bat. Ground ball, and it is through. Olson's coming around. The Braves get 2 back. Let me tell you, folks, that is huge.
Doobie does it again and jumping on that first pitch and in off the plate. And for Matt Olson, more sprint work here as he goes from second to home, but gets there easily. And Mauricio Dubon getting a pitch, even though it was in off the plate, one that he liked, to turn it into 2 RBIs.
Ozzie sees 11 pitches to set all that up, and then Dubon comes up first pitch and brings in 2. Austin Riley at the plate now. Matt might be getting oxygen over there in the Braves dugout. This one's going to go foul. Hard hit, but into the seats.
Well, there's more concern over the pitch count, I think, of Christian Scott than there is of Bryce Elder. Not to say that we would not be concerned about Bryce Elder, but again, you are talking about a guy coming back from surgery. With Elder, he would want to be pushed. I think the Braves would push him a little bit. Not so much with Christian Scott.
Now that might end the inning.
Pitch is called, the ball. Catcher's challenging. Calls overturned. The pitch is strike. New York has 2 remaining.
That first inning will be remembered for a while. 5-2 Mets. The second inning, let's go down to Paul Bird for our active mic presented by the Wells Fargo Active Cash Card.
Thanks so much, Brandon. As a pitcher, one time I read a book by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. He is a Hungarian sports psychologist, and he studied all the great athletes and took the common denominators of every sport, and one of those common denominators changed my life. Do you know what it is, guys? Every great athlete wanted to play from behind. They didn't want to be in the lead. They needed a challenge, and they wanted to come back. So what's good about that? Your Braves are the same way. They're tied for third with 33 come from behind wins. That's fantastic. Diamondbacks #1, Cubs 2. We're tied with the Brewers for 4. So what I'm trying to say is, do not change the channel, guys.
That's right. That's a good call, Birdie. And the way that it has been for this team in that first inning certainly helps, even though it took, what, about 40 minutes? First pitch was at 7:16.
It was 38 minutes, 65 pitches, 7 runs, a grand slam, the strange review, an overturned call to end the inning. And a partridge in a pear tree. I just want Birdie to repeat the name of that author of the book. That was impressive.
I think he made it up.
You want it again?
Yeah. You got it? You ready?
Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. I cannot spell it, but I can pronounce it.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
Ripped toward the corner. Is it going to stay fair? Yes. Clanging off the wall. You know Acuna's got a bullet. Safe. As Lindor collides with Jarvis, everybody's okay, but that had no business being that close. What a throw by Ronald.
It certainly was, and we'll see whether or not the Braves want to challenge this thing. They are not, but Ronald made this closer than any other outfielder possibly could here. First, take a look at the pitch. It is a 2-seam fastball, leaked over the plate a little bit more than Elder wanted it to, and Ronald played it perfect. And an absolute dime here, but unfortunately just not enough time.
Thankfully, Jarvis okay. Classy of Lindor to make sure he was. And here's Bichette, who had an RBI single last inning. Slowly to Jarvis. So there's one down.
You following the music?
I didn't even hear that one.
It's the theme to the Johnny Carson show.
Ah, with Carson Benj at the plate. You know, I don't know that I would have known that.
I should say the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
But I don't know that I would have known, because it changed when, did it change when Jay Leno came on?
That's a great question. I'm not sure. I mean, I watched it a pretty good amount as a kid, and I get a lot of my algorithm says, yeah, CJ's interested in seeing these old highlights, so they pop into my feed quite a bit. I saw one the other day, and I think Don Rickles was on, and they were talking and said something about, how old are you? And Johnny Carson said he was 46, and if you looked at him, you would have thought he was 86. I was like, what? It was crazy. I mean, full gray, the whole thing. 46. I was like, that can't be right.
Carson Benj swinging at the changeup from Elder.
It's a good changeup that we talked about, the adjustments that had been made here. Now, I'll be interested to find out whether or not this was back to the old grip, because the spin was significantly lower. It's really hard to tell when you're watching it, but basically the difference there for Bryce Elder and what he did with his changeup, he went back to his kind of standard grip, and the average spin rate on that was about 1,800. That one was only 760. That's more of the kick change. So maybe there's been another change. I said kicking to the curb. Maybe he's kicking it back.
Yeah, maybe he's bringing it back. It was effective. A couple of strikeouts for Elder. Now Jared Young at the plate. This is going to get the run home unless Acuna can somehow get it in, but he will not. Wouldn't have mattered. Lindor scores 6-2.
A cutter here from Bryce Elder, and I don't think it's been as effective to the lefties as we have seen for most of this season. Right, he hits a cutter there, or excuse me, AJ Ewing hit a cutter for the leadoff double to start this game. It's the second time that Young has gotten a hold of the cutter for a base hit.
And Simeon follows that up with a line drive base hit to right. Runners at first and second.
That is now 9 hits here for the New York Mets through an inning and 2/3 against Bryce Elder.
He gave up 10 hits his last start against the Mets in New York in June. That was in the midst of the part of the season where Bryce Elder really struggled, but then over the last month, as we've documented, he had been locked in until the trouble he's running into tonight. And the guy at the plate right now has had the biggest swing of the night, the grand slam last inning. Just a little low. Full count. You've got Polanco on deck.
I'm going to retract what I said about the changeup there for Bryce Elder. Was doing some digging, and so early on, it's kind of back to that spin that we talked about that he switched to, and then the last 6 changeups looks like they've been misreads. There's a couple in there that said, one of them said a spin rate of 12.
That's probably not possible.
That's a knuckleball, and even then, that's a knuckleballer couldn't do that. And the 72 and 100. So there's been some misreads here by Statcast in the second inning.
Kind of fitting for that to be wonky right now with
Yes.
how wonky this game has been.
What are you talking about? It's almost the second inning.
Another 3-2 that bounces in front of the plate, so it's not comfortable on that changeup release. Yeah, the bases are loaded.
This one gets spiked. It's a changeup right in the dirt here from Bryce Elder, and that is that traditional changeup grip that he has there. Certainly not trying to throw it that far down in a full count.
This is going to give a chance for Brent Suter to start to warm up. Let's get a word in here from Audi.
The Audi Q3, made for a life of yes.
the DH, Jorge Polanco. A tough year for Polanco after a good year last season with Seattle, but the Mets get him, and he's been injured most of the year. It's only his 33rd game of the season. His ground ball here to Matt Olson should end the inning, and it will. The Mets do get one. It is 6-2. First year he's an alum, and Alumni Weekend is coming up, presented by your local Ford dealer. Autograph sessions, the Legends Parade, which everybody always loves. There's a lot of great stuff going on. Check out all the details. Braves.com/alumni weekend.
It's a different kind of alumnus, right? They're not hitting you up for donations all the time, and just kind of sit back and relax and enjoy everything he contributed. And I was thinking, as we saw Snit and then of course Ronnie sitting to his left, and you've heard me talk about the different levels of stress that a baseball wife has to deal with, and just like Snit, she doesn't have to deal with it anymore either, and thinking about what's going on in the field, how it's affecting him, and everything else. So everybody is freed up and smiling and looking great.
Yep, and enjoying the grandparents' life, and then son Troy, of course, over there as the hitting coach for the Mets. Jarvis, Murphy, Baldwin, 8-9-1 here for Atlanta in the bottom of the second. Reaches for it, bounces it to the second baseman, Semien, who makes the play. Just 6 games this year for Murph, and 2 for 22 at the plate so far. Getting the start tonight here in game 1 of the series. That is belted down the left field line by the Braves catcher. Murphy's going to chug for second, and he's in there with a double. And what has been such a tough, frustrating year with injuries for Sean Murphy, that had to feel good.
That certainly did, as he squares this thing up. 105 off the bat for Sean Murphy, and you described it perfectly. He absolutely was chugging around the bases, and that locomotive got going a little bit, and enough time to call this a double. But a nice piece of hitting that no doubt felt good there for Sean Murphy. Oh, man.
Yeah, that one missed.
Again, so easy for us, or we get to watch the game with the strike zone box up there. Thinking about it, I hate to do it, but going back to that first inning, and the potential challenge would have ended the inning. Kept going, and then unfortunately went sideways.
Beatty, pretty routine here off the bat of Baldwin for the second out. Toyota Trends feature. You like this, CJ? 4 homers, 5 RBI, 6 runs, and hits in 7 of the last 8. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's a straight. Yeah, tough to beat that for sure. That's a beautiful thing for Ronald. Let's keep it going right now. Again, you want to scratch every run you can across when the opportunities are there as you chip away against the Mets.
Scott was able to strike him out last inning. Here's pitch 40 tonight for Scott. Ronald lifts it to right center, deep, but on the track, it's brought in by Bench. Well, the Spencer Strider Volume 3 vinyl record giveaway tomorrow. tomorrow, fans are going to receive a vinyl record featuring one of Spencer Strider's favorite Atlanta area bands. And Spencer is going to host a postgame performance of the bands at the Georgia Power Pavilion. So go to Braves.com/promos to get your tickets and come out tomorrow.
I want to know, can he sing? He looks the part right there, slide right in, he'd fit in perfectly.
It's almost like he could play any role in the band, too.
Yeah.
I could see him on drums. I could see him on the guitar.
Crowd management, all of it. He could do it.
Elder back to work. And there's a strike to Alvarez. What are you hoping here for Elder? He's at 57 pitches right now.
Trying to find a way to be efficient, get some early outs, take some of the pressure off the bullpen. Now there is an off day coming on Thursday, but you still feel like, even though it's a 4-run deficit, that you have a chance here. You can't let it get any further away. And Bryce Elder's been in this spot before, and he is not a guy that's looking to get out of this game. He's trying to get as deep as possible, and he very well could see triple digits in pitch count tonight if he can start getting some outs and shortening these innings.
And with the early start yesterday in New York, Braves, the buses getting back to Truist Park around 9:45 last night, so everyone should have gotten a decent night's sleep, hopefully resetting for this series. Slowly to Riley, but Alvarez does not have great speed, so plenty of time. Take a look at our Whataburger What a Play. Braves against the Mets here at Truist Park, 44-30 since this building opened.
It's pretty good run differential, the home runs as well. We need to tap into some of that here now tonight and the rest of this series, because the Mets are throwing some pretty good pitchers. This is a really tough series on what we saw against the New York Yankees, and seeing kind of their best three right now. And Christian Scott probably not going to get ultra deep in this game, but it is a really good arm. We got Zach Thornton, that's on Wednesday, the last game, and then Nolan McClain tomorrow. Even though he's just been okay, it's still plus arms and guys that have had some early success in their careers.
Ewing thought about it, does not challenge. And for the Braves, Martin Perez tomorrow, and then Tyler Mahle, his second Braves start on Wednesday.
Martin hiding a little bit. There's Robert Suarez. Everybody eagerly awaiting his potential return to that Braves bullpen.
There's still no official word on Suarez, but in his recent discussions with Alex Anthopoulos and them going over kind of a hopeful game plan, they're just wanting to be very cautious with the idea of, we would rather have you in October than in August. I think everybody agrees with that, but then you need to get him back at some point, hopefully earlier in September, to kind of ramp him back up.
Yeah, I think a couple of September surprises would be nice, and Robert Suarez certainly is one of them. Maybe a little bit more of a long shot with a guy like Spencer Schwellenbach, but you still hold out some hope that he could return.
There's a strikeout on the changeup as Elder gets A.J. Ewing.
This is the really good version of the changeup, and it's been more consistent here tonight. Good looking one at 88 that disappears on A.J. Ewing. And when he has the combination right, that changeup, two-seam fastball, the cutter going the other way, that's when we see a really good Bryce Elder slider going straight down. I feel like the cutter's probably been the bigger issue, where he's had a harder time finding consistency and where he wants it with the break he wants.
So Ewing and now Lindor coming up to the plate for the third time here in the third inning. But Elder also hoping for a 1-2-3 frame. Corey Blazer, he's been pretty generous back there tonight. 3-1 to Lindor, another guy who missed a significant chunk of time this year due to injury. 2 months with a left calf strain. He's got a 3-2 count, and his numbers are kind of like they were his first year with the Mets when he struggled a little bit and made people question that contract. In the last few years, he's picked it up, but he's regressed a little this season.
Missing time certainly because he had the handmade too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, there was 3 guys that essentially had it: Corbin Carroll, Jackson Holliday, Francisco Lindor, all around the same time in spring training. So he's certainly battled some injuries. You see it at times. You see the great power that still exists, certainly for Francisco Lindor, but just hard for them, and a lot of other issues that they've had here in New York. But between him, between Soto being injured, between Bichette needing a little time to get comfortable in New York, they just haven't gotten the production they've anticipated.
High, deep, and that one is going to stay fair. A long home run to the second deck of the chop house for Francisco Lindor.
This one on the cutter again. That cutter just hasn't been the same for Bryce Elder tonight. It has been such an important and good pitch, very similar to what we saw with A.J. Ewing on the double. It's a good location, but just right now not missing bats or getting off the barrel like we're used to seeing.
So Lindor, a double and a homer so far tonight. He continues to see Bryce Elder really well when he faces him. Acuna over to take it. 2-out solo homer. It is 7-2 Mets. Homer from yesterday. This was impressive.
It was 100 miles an hour. He turned it around on a line into right center field. That was the first run of the game. What a well-pitched game it was yesterday between Grant Holmes and Cam Schlittler. The Braves able to win that one, which I think was also really important, right? Trying to avoid a sweep. All one-run games that we saw. Now you walk away from a series like that feeling like you could have swept or been swept. That's how close they all were.
And 2 of them extra innings, including the 10-inning victory yesterday for Atlanta. So that homer leads us to our truest leaderboard. Most extra base hits through 118 team games in Braves history. Remember Riley's 22, Olson's 23, Chipper, and then Olson's up there twice now.
That's been impressive, and we know when he gets right and he has these big kind of seasons, he can slug with anybody.
Speaking of slug, but unfortunately this one is going to go foul. You don't get many up there.
You certainly don't. That's 410 feet away from home plate as far as where that thing landed. Oof. And so that was the sweeper that Matt Olson hit foul there. Cutter that he fouled straight back. It's a little bit surprising. That was the pitch that he got his base hit against, right? And when you have a deep repertoire the way that Christian Scott does, a lot of times you go to something else once a guy sees you really well in that first at bat.
There's the sweeper, and he just got that outside corner.
Well, nobody's going to get it if you throw it here. And backdoor sweeper, that is a ball about what, 99% of the way, and just barely catches the outside corner. That's one of those frustrating ones. You look at it, you feel like it's a ball, you feel like maybe it went around the plate, but also feeling like you would have lost that in ABS because the very edge of that baseball would have caught the zone.
Michael Harris, he had the difference maker yesterday in the 10th inning with his RBI single that led to the one-run Braves victory to salvage the series. And Chuck and Chernoff earlier talking about Michael Harris and some of the differences this year but to last year, and I know CJ, you and I have talked about this a great deal, but his ability to hit it to all parts of the field, less chase, but a guy that is going to chase is just knowing when to chase, as he does right there. But he can get to a ball outside the zone.
He can. I think it's a matter of really understanding where and trying to then eliminate the other part of it, right? I think for Michael, down, up, they can get to both of those away. I think it's sometimes the ones that are in, maybe if you're going to give up any area in which you would like to avoid chase, that's probably the spot for him. But he also barrels the baseball really well outside of the strike zone. We'll see other guys that can get bat to ball, but not always barrel the ball outside the zone.
They challenged me, by the way. They said, you know, CJ comes on and he mentions our show.
Oh, yeah. They love that.
I said, well,
no, don't act like I do it on my own. They asked me that.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I said, okay, challenge accepted. We'll do it in the 3rd inning.
That's a fun bit they got going for sure.
But we had a good conversation about Michael Harris. And look, it has been an incredible season for him. And really, as we talk about it, it dates back to his turnaround last year.
Yeah, I mean, the hands where they are, you can see where the front foot is now, and it has all worked for him. We've heard Austin Riley talking about raising his hands a little bit more here recently.
And there he goes to the opposite field. He hits it well, but it is brought in by Beatty. You are watching Braves Vision, powered by Southern Company. Ozzie got clipped by that pitch on a 3-2 count back in the 1st inning. Hard grounder, but Young is right there, and Christian Scott has a 1-2-3 third. Time for our Active Bike, presented by the Wells Fargo Active Cash Card. Back down to Paul Bird.
You got it, guys. There's different ways as a pitcher to gain respect on your team. Martin Perez did it earlier a couple weeks ago when he took the ball on short rest. Here's another way. Bryce Elder is struggling. He doesn't have it today, and he's been pitching great lately. Instead of worried about his ERA and coming out of the game, he continues to battle, stay in there, try to give him 4, then 5. He already has 78 pitches, so we'll see how far he can go. But if he can get it a little bit later into this game, as you know, CJ, that helps that bullpen out for the whole series.
See the challenge here. Looked like it missed. And it did. It's brought to you by T-Mobile.
Yep, so obviously that is the case, and I think we've come to know Bryce Elder as a very unselfish teammate. He understands what's happening. He understands the bullpen. And the last thing any of these guys want to do is put extra pressure on the bullpen. So he wants to stay in there and battle and get as deep as he can. And that also means sometimes, despite the fact that some of these innings have been long, that you're willing to push your pitch count. Now, they don't necessarily ask you, but I think it's pretty clear for Bryce Elder and Walt Weiss that he'd like to get deeper in this.
And guys, this happens to everybody. No matter how good you are, it's happened to me many times. And you tell yourself, hey, just take it one pitch at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. I don't need to worry about how many runs I gave up. I'm just going to concentrate on my next pitch.
Birdie slips in a little dad joke in there.
Birdie, have you eaten an elephant?
It's, you know, one of my favorite go-to sayings, BG. little tricks around every corner.
It's a weird thought, right? I don't know if you are you picturing like eating an elephant a little bit at a time? Doesn't sound good at all.
It seems cruel because they seem so kind.
You know what, guys? You don't get this on other broadcasts.
That is for sure.
You just don't.
3-2 here to Binge. Riley with a backhand. Riley with a strong throw. 1 down.
So listen, it happened. It's over. There's really nothing you can do about it. But we talked about this first inning. I want you to watch Bryce Elder right here, right? We thought maybe this would have been a strike and the inning would have been over in just one run across. And what you notice right there, and I didn't see it the first time, Bryce Elder taps his hat. Right, watch him right here. After this is sorted, he keeps contact there and looking like, hey, like, why is that not a challenge? He clearly asked for one. He's looking at the home plate umpire and he asked for a challenge, and it would have ended the inning. And instead, 4 more runs came across.
Yeah, I think Corey Blazer didn't see that and looked like Elder also was trying to get Sean Murphy's attention, but Murphy turned around right after he threw it to tell Murph to challenge as well.
And BG, that's a tough challenge for Murph. He just threw the ball down to second.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, CJ mentioned you're getting up out of the crouch and you're throwing the ball down. There's a lot going on for a catcher in that moment.
I don't blame Murph at all. It's a really difficult spot to be in. But if Bryce Elder called for it, technically, why didn't he get it?
Elder stuck his foot out. Thankfully, it didn't hit his foot. It goes right to Jarvis.
There's been an issue at times with challenges and some umpires not allowing them if too much time passes by. It seems like others have been more forgiving, and I don't think that's on Corey Blazer at all. It's just one of those things that I think if I'm Bryce Elder, I'm maybe making a bigger deal about it. Like, hey, I called for it. Why didn't you give it to me? Now, we don't see pitchers challenging very often, and they have not been overly successful. They're under 40% has been the success rate for pitchers.
But that sequence, a long way to go, but that sequence obviously changed the complexion of the game early, and it led to that grand slam by Brett Beatty.
It's a strike him out, throw him out, 1 run across, inning over.
I think everyone agrees the challenge system for balls and strikes, ABS, has been great. It'll be interesting to see if they make subtle tweaks to some of the nuances going forward. But Elder with his best inning, 1, 2, 3 in the top of the 4th. Look at that. The fans are calling for it, partner.
Pressure's on.
Hey, by the way, Braves Vision viewers, speaking of this, we want your feedback about sourdough, whatever. Scan the QR code. Fill out the survey before August 16th for your chance to win 2 tickets in the Xfinity Club at Truist Park for a regular season game. So we appreciate your feedback on this new era in Braves broadcasting. Your voice can be heard.
So I guess we do talk about sourdough more than I realized.
Yeah.
It's got to the point now where there are signs requesting it.
And I had several people ask me before the game about the peanut butter and jelly on the flight home, and if we have had peanut butter and jelly on your sourdough bread yet. So I feel like it might be coming. I know that you're against it, but
I'm not against. I just love the soft bread. So yesterday I did take a picture of what they had for us, and we're certainly not complaining, but I couldn't tell if it was like, there's no way there was any intent behind it, right? Because we were in New York, but we had talked about peanut butter and jelly quite a bit, and ratios and how important they are and all those kinds of things. And then the sandwiches that we got were the heaviest that we've had all year by far. It was a small bowling ball. And it was, I mean, what would you say, at least a 1/4 inch, maybe a 1/2 inch thick of each?
Yeah.
Both peanut butter and jelly.
About a pound of each on there.
I couldn't finish. First time I couldn't finish an entire peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's like a T-bone, that thing. Well,
there was so much peanut butter. It's like,
yeah, and if you got a bite without enough jelly, that was, you felt like a dog, yeah.
Dubana's driven in both runs today. That 2 RBI single in the first. This time a routine grounder to Simeon. Speaking of our friends at Delta, here's a word from them.
From Braves country to the world. Delta, official airline of the Atlanta Braves.
Riley struck out on an ABS overturned in the first inning. Christian Scott has set down 6 Braves in a row here after giving up a double to Murphy back in the second.
So things start to get, it feels a little bit more settled, right? A lot of back and forth here early on. And there's a phrase that I think sometimes with the newer school could be a little controversial, and talk about pitching to the score, and even what that interpretation means for a guy like Christian Scott, where he's got this big 5-run lead.
With the right field corner, sprinting over, but no room for Binge.
And I bring it up because I'm sitting here watching the Austin Riley at bat, and he goes curveball, sweeper, cutter, but he goes curveball, sweeper, and falls behind 2-0. Now he's even the count with the cutter and the 4-seam fastball. And the idea behind it is that not so much that you're not throwing balls down the middle and trying to give up hits, but you may go to a little bit more fastball usage. You may keep the off-speed pitch straight like a changeup or a split, and stay away from some of the breakers to try to save it to help you get deeper in the game. But I feel like that is not really something we see anymore, and I think what we're seeing from Scott here in the 4th inning is a good example of it.
That time he threw a 4-seam fastball, and Riley shoots it the other way.
Fastball here, 96 miles an hour and elevated. And again, Austin Riley has told us about the hand changes and the idea of helping him get to velocity a little bit better. And good example of it right here. Let that ball travel, right? He talked about the level swing, give yourself more of a chance. That's where it shows up.
1 on, 1 out. Jim Jarvis takes a strike.
Bertie, I'd be interested in kind of your thoughts on that, and if you remember like blowout games when you're leading. I don't know how you felt about the idea. Not that you get away from your game plan. We talk about pitching to the score, but it felt like it'd be more heaters, maybe taking less chances. And just watching Scott spin a bunch of balls early makes me think, you know what, that's probably something we don't see a lot.
I would agree with you. I remember pitching against the Expos, and we got a big lead, and I went to the umpire and I said, if I get behind and throw a breaking ball, it's nothing personal. I'm not good enough to start throwing fastballs down the middle. And he laughed, and Bobby Cox asked me what I said, and I told him, and he said exactly. So the Braves were not like that, but there was an unwritten rule of a lot of fastballs when you get behind, if you get that big lead, just because that was the way the game was played.
And I never believed it as you're shooting middle and you're okay giving up hits. Like that never was really, I thought, the philosophy behind it. But I feel like the newer school really kind of pushed back on the idea, and I always felt like it was a little bit misunderstood. But the way repertoires are now, as hard as these guys throw and pitch mixes, it's not really something we see anymore.
Jarvis is going to draw a walk, so 2 on with 1 out. They're going to start to stretch out in that Mets pen.
You're like this today, CJ. I was talking with Grant Holmes, and I said, hey, what's the difference? And he said, well, Paul, he said, I was throwing my bullpen. He goes, I'm always really good in my bullpen. And so Joey Bart said to him, Joey now traded to the White Sox, but before he left, he said to him, hey, if you get in trouble, I'm just going to walk out there and tell you to just pretend you're throwing a bullpen. And that was a really big old school philosophy of just nice and easy, take just a little bit off, concentrate on that spot, especially when you get in a jam, because your heart rate's going to be up and you're going to hit that velocity anyways.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And sometimes even when you feel like maybe you're taking a little bit off, and I think to Bertie's point is you turn around and you're like, oh, that was pretty much my regular velocity anyway.
And what's interesting for Christian Scott is he has not pitched this season with a 5-run lead before tonight. So there haven't been a lot of opportunities, because the Mets have not scored many runs this year, for him to pitch ahead like this. Braves trying to eat into that deficit. 1 and 2 to Murphy.
This is also the day and age where, you know, 3-0 automatic fastball was pretty standard. That we've gotten away from that as well. We've seen it even if you're near the bottom of the order, and there's really good hitters at the bottom of the order, because guys are selling out and taking such big swings and swinging more. 3-0. It's not going to be an automatic fastball. It could be a breaking ball. It could be a changeup in a 3-0 count.
That one a little off the plate, and a swing and a miss for out number 2.
Just a good live fastball here. Murph trying to protect with 2 strikes, and that one probably finished off a little further than he anticipated. Watch this barrel go underneath his baseball as he's just trying to fight it off.
CJ, you remember another unwritten rule that's kind of ABS is taken away, but on getaway day, bigger strike zone, swing the bat.
We miss those. We miss those days.
Ground ball out to right field. Riley's coming around third. He is safe. It's 7-3. Baldwin with his 60th RBI of the season.
I don't think this is the intended location. It's a first pitch sweeper, and it is elevated. And we know Drake Baldwin handles balls up as good as anybody in the game. Another guy with a really good level swing and pokes this one through the right side. Austin Riley scoring easily. Now, it's one of those times where you could take a chance and throw this ball home because you're not going to see necessarily Jim Jarvis in that spot be able to get to third.
Justin Willard, first-year pitching coach, talking with Christian Scott. Still nobody throwing in the Mets pen. A lot of standing, some stretching, but no throwing. I think if Acuna could do some damage here, that would change all of that.
Both times his at-bats have ended on the cutter. The last time he hit the ball pretty well to right field.
And this time it's a four-seam fastball that he fouls away. Ten runs scored in this game between the two teams. 9 of them have come with 2 outs, including the Drake Baldwin RBI single here in the 4th. Ooh. 1-2. We've talked about that elevated fastball to Acuna a lot here over the last couple of weeks.
And this guy's got a good one. This is where he goes for a lot of swing and miss in this area in particular. And it's got some life on it. Doesn't have necessarily the induced vertical break, but it's good velocity. It's good angle coming in, especially to right-handed hitters.
Two on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Acuna liner out into left field. That's going to bring another one home. Play at third, and Baldwin is safe. 7-4.
I tell you what, he did it. He went back to the cutter. He threw Ronald one earlier in this at bat, but it was way off the plate. He didn't really throw it with any conviction, but he comes back with one here that's going to catch the outside corner, but it's up, and it doesn't have nearly the movement that the others have had. And Ronald's able to smack it 105 there into left field for the RBI single. Were you as nervous as I was watching Drake go to third there, thinking about what happened in New York?
I know, it was almost deja vu. That's when the Braves did not score in the first inning in game 1 of that series. It wound up hurting them later, but everybody's safe here. And now Matt Olson.
I am shocked right now that this at bat is happening in the 4th inning. This is dangerous for Christian Scott.
Interesting to see Matt take that swing on that cutter bearing in like that. 0-2. They do have Jonathan Pintero warming now.
He was the guy that got called up for Devin Williams, who went on the IL today.
One ball, two strikes here to Matt Olson. He went. See, he slams his helmet down, but the Braves do get two. They inch closer, 7-4. Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Truist. We are at Truist Park. It has been an eventful start to this series. Mets were up 5-0, then 7-2. Now it's 7-4 as Bryce Elder goes back to work in the fifth.
And you got Brent Suter throwing right behind him, and the Mets bullpen is busy as well. And so Christian Scott's night is probably finished. It would be great if Elder could get through this one.
Bottom three in the order, starting with Beatty. And remember, Beatty had that grand slam in the first. Former number 12 pick by the Mets back in 2019. Seemed like he broke out last year. He's regressed a little this year, but obviously he's got the biggest swing of the night so far. And then he walked in the second. Fly ball towards Mauricio Dubon. A message from Chevrolet.
Get into a 2026 Chevy Trax, starting at $23,495. Proud partner of the Atlanta Braves.
You know, CJ, Elder always, and the Braves are all like this, but after his starts, when he speaks to the media, it's all class. Even in rough outings, he never points fingers. But I will be curious to hear his thoughts on how that first inning unfolded today.
Yeah, you may have to ask him his true thoughts off camera, right? But I think he maybe knows, hey, you know what, I could have been more definitive on trying to get a challenge. And as we said, it's a tough one for Murph, right? I think pitchers understanding those spots. We've also seen pitchers become pretty reluctant to use ABS because their numbers have not been good. It's actually 35% on the success rate. But he had a case, and that would have been 2 outs, not 1.
And you couple that with that 8-minute delay to review what didn't really need to be reviewed on that ball out in right field. This is the 100th pitch tonight for Elder. It's a strike.
And I think with Suter, and again, pitch count certainly matters. You have a righty on deck in Alvarez. You probably want him up for Ewing, who had the double lined out. Both of those at-bats came in the first inning. He did strike out in his last one, but with the pitch count, we'll see what Walt decides to do here. Could be one more hitter, or it could be done.
Got a great double play candidate here in Alvarez, and Elder did get him to ground out back in the third.
The base hit came on a slider, and he kind of caught that one off the end of the bat in the first inning. The ground ball you're talking about was on a two-seam fastball, which is a great ground ball pitch.
There it is again. That one might have been a strike.
More frustrating when you throw that pitch that he didn't swing at it, because that is your perfect ground ball pitch.
Career start number 101 tonight for Elder, and his career high as far as a pitch count is concerned is 108. He's 5 away from that now.
Yeah, this 103 now ties his season high. I think he's very well aware of what is at stake right now, and knowing if he can get the double play that he gets out of the inning and he's done and he gets through 5. If he doesn't, that he's probably out of the game.
Ground ball. Ozzie to second for 1. There it is. Right at 4-6-3 in your scorebook, and give Elder 5 after a rough first inning.
Bryce Elder, it was hit hard, 106 miles an hour, but watch Ozzie. Good flip there to Jim Jarvis, who does a really nice job with his throws, even when he is off balance. We have seen that with some consistency from Jarvis, and certainly Bryce Elder appreciates the defense behind him.
You want to talk about gutting out 5 innings? That's what Elder did tonight.
They seem to get the changeup right. I think the cutter was still kind of the issue for him this evening in location on. And then, you know, I shouldn't say location, but some of the break on it, because the pitch that he threw to Ewing, the pitch that he threw to Francisco Lindor, that one went for a double, another for a homer. Location was decent. And that's when you start playing that mind game, like, are they picking up on it? They see something there to be able to get to that pitch, hit it hard when it's in, and keep it fair.
The line does not look good, but you have to put an asterisk next to that with how that first inning unfolded. 0-2 here, so it's onto the bullpen. Pintero, as CJ mentioned, just elevated today with Devin Williams going on the IL.
3 home runs allowed in those 6 games over 14 1/3.
And Harris the other way gets it past Bichette for a leadoff single.
Two-seamer, it's 95 miles an hour, and just as we were talking about Michael and his ability to barrel pitches that are off the plate, you're comfortable with him going after the ones away. That one barely off the plate. You want to expand more as a righty when you're facing Michael in this spot, but you don't, and he makes you pay. 107, that's smoked for an 0-2 count.
Nowhere near to Ozzie. And only 1 major league appearance last year for Pintero, so only his 8th big league game. And remember what we told you earlier with the trade deadline and the Mets selling. A lot of what they sold was their bullpen. Weaver, Minter, Raley, Brazoban. So there's a lot of inexperience right now.
It's all their best relievers and then their closer now on the IL. And so for Andy Green going forward, a little bit more work to do to try to mix and match. So they've been scoring a lot of runs and have given themselves some space, but I can imagine the confidence level is not great.
And Ozzie walks on 4 pitches.
Yeah, the bullpen is currently set up with Mauricio Dubon coming up right now. Kodai Senga is the one with the most service time. Of course, he is a starter. He's got 3 years coming into this year. Everybody else significantly lower, so just lots of inexperience right now in that New York Met bullpen.
Yeah, they're going to be asked to cover a lot of outs here.
Yeah, hopefully only 4 innings and not 5, right? Meaning that the Braves don't have to bat in the bottom of the 9th, and they can get to this bullpen over the next couple.
sharply to second, and a 4-6-3 double play. 99 miles per hour off the bat, but unfortunately right at Simeon.
That's a two-seamer, 96 on the sinker here. That's a pretty good one. Inner third there. It's interesting because we saw against Christian Scott early on when Mauricio Dubon got the fastball in, he was able to turn on it really quickly and get the 2 RBI single. That time almost looked like he might have been trying to shoot the ball the other way, and that ball was on the ground to the right side.
Well, this is going to get the run home. And now it's 7-5. A wild pitch there from Pintero.
There's only really 2 times that you get to use the phrase uncorked. It's wine, and then it's this thing right here. And that was absolutely uncorked and scared the bejesus out of the guy that looked like it was going right for his face, who maybe was half paying attention. So good evening, sir, and welcome back to the game.
I think I might need a change of drawers. Well, the double play, that was a bit of a buzzkill, but just to get one in. And now watch this guy.
Yeah, this is the best part at the end. I mean, the run helps, but yikes. There is a net there. We got you.
Still laughing about it.
Well, he's in the big boy seat, so he can see the TV, so he knows he's getting a little TV time that he wasn't anticipating tonight. Got excited. I'll be behind home plate. I'm going to get some airtime. Well, now you're going to get a lot of airtime.
Hitters count. Cutter outside. Riley goes after it. 3-2.
Talk about those times like Matt Olson did the other day, right, where you go early in a fastball count thinking about big velocity and trying to get the barrel to it. I think Austin Riley was doing it, and instead he got a cutter.
That one misses. He does not chase there. And Riley is aboard with 2 down. They're going to start to throw in that Mets pen now. Lavender being summoned.
One of the 2 lefties that are down in that bullpen. The other one is Jan, who I'm sure we'll see in the series, and he's the guy that's jumping all over the place every time he strikes a hitter out.
Yeah, he's already gone viral in his short big league career. He has fun out there, though.
He's having a good time. He gets up there too.
He does.
He's got some vertical.
Kind of does the splits midair with the jump.
My ankles hurt just watching him do that.
And Jarvis tips it into the mitt to end the 5th, but the Braves get a little bit closer. It is UGA night here at the ballpark, and there is Kadani McAlpine, women's soccer coach. Does a tremendous job. Squad getting ready to kick off the season between the hedges in Sanford Stadium August 20th against James Madison. He's got some good seats tonight here on UGA night.
And probably less fidgety than our other guy over there who struggled a little bit in the low liners, as it is UGA night here.
And fitting with the crossover football jersey for Michael Harris tonight. So all part of the promotion. And Brent Suter So one of the new Braves now pitching here at Truist Park and pitching for the 43rd time this season.
Yeah, second time now here in a Braves uniform. And what you get from Brent Suter is not an overpowering fastball at all. He's going to pitch to contact for the most part, although the strikeout rate is respectable. Walk rate is really good. Keeps the baseball on the ground, something he has always done really well throughout his career.
And Braves fans who are just getting used to him, you see he likes to work quickly. 1-2. Just missed with a two-seamer. And he strikes out the birthday boy, A.J. Ewing.
Well done here. Missed the previous pitch just off the plate, moves it over an inch or two and catches the corner. That's a two-seam fastball right at 90.
So the rookie Ewing 1 for 4. Now Lindor. A couple of veterans head-to-head here.
So much has changed. We talk about repertoires in the big leagues now with sweepers and cutters and everything else. And Brent Suter does it pretty simply. 4-seam, 2-seam, change-up, slider.
And as we have discussed, one of the most interesting and fun guys you will see in Major League Baseball. This is deep to left, but it's going to go foul. But there's also, you talk about how fun Brent Suter is. You go and you read about him and you hear stories. He's also a very classy guy. And the last 2 years with the Reds, both years they nominated, the teammates nominated him as the Roberto Clemente Award nominee, and that says something. That also talks about your character. Riley makes the play here, 2 down. Comcast Business defend the mound, talking about the Atlanta Braves relievers this season.
Yeah, they've been excellent, and a couple of new additions over the course of the season. Brent Suter now here, of course, after the deadline, and I think we saw kind of those last couple of spots in the bullpen where there had been a decent amount of turnover, but the Braves now getting pretty settled in with this group. Guys emerging like Didier Fuentes, who has been really special. Tyler Kinley had a very nice moment yesterday in New York to be able to finish off that game and to come in the 10th inning with a runner at second base. We saw a 97-mile-an-hour fastball from him to finish off the game. This group's been rolling. Dylan Dodd probably is the biggest story as far as emerging this year. I mean, Fuentes is a big one for sure, but a couple of guys that really have cemented themselves as go-to trust bullpen arms for Walt Weiss.
That's why you think about getting Suarez back and how great that would be. The shape that this bullpen would be in for the postseason would be unbelievable. Boy, Bichette went chasing after high heat there to make it 3-2.
He's not afraid to expand. He's got a little Michael Harris in him from the right side. He likes to be hacking early. Hits the ball the other way pretty well.
But he does earn a walk. The other thing I was going to say about Suter, though, talking about the Roberto Clemente Award, he was also named Man of the Year last year by the Players Association, and that's a big award. Does a lot of work at all of his stops with local hospitals. He just gives back a lot. He cares about the communities that he's in, and also a Harvard graduate, so he's got quite a bit between the ears.
Yeah, he gets it. I think he understands certainly the platform, using it to the best of your ability. It's hard sometimes, and trying to establish yourself as a big leaguer, trying to do really well, have a great career, and it's easy to forget about some of the other things and the influence that you really can have on the community. Do it.
Yep.
Do it.
Pitch called, the ball to get down.
That's a good one, Murph. That's a strike.
Ball's over. That's 2 remaining.
Oh, 2 here to bench. And
I mentioned that repertoire, and it really isn't a situation where you would look at the 4 pitches that Brent Suter throws and says, oh, here's the most dominant pitch of the group. He's got anywhere between 10 to 18 strikeouts on all 4 of his pitches. He really does spread them out quite a bit.
Runner stays. Binge 0 for 2 today. With that 270 batting average, highest it's been all season. He's got 7 hits over his last 3 coming into today. As he takes that pitch outside. But Binge has really impressed. The Mets think that he has a bright future both in the field. He's got a rocket of an arm in the outfield and at the plate. Bounces that foul. A jump over there for Gilbert Gomez.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think him and A.J. Ewing look like they are going to stick, and they're going to be a little bit of a thorn in the side for the Braves here for a while. And mention that good arm that you get from Benj. He's been up to 102 miles an hour. Ewing's been up to 96 in center.
And Benj is going to challenge. And I think we're going to have a 3-2 count here.
Ball's overturned. We're cut through me.
It's what 4 overturns now that we have had here tonight, which for Corey Blazer has a well above average success rate. So league average 53% when he's been behind the plate. Hitters and catchers 62%, almost 10% better.
Bichette will go in motion here again with 2 outs, 3-2 count. And a line drive foul. Next pitch will be the 11th of this at bat. It's in play. Jarvis backhands, throws on the run. A walk, but nothing against Suter at the top of the 6th. Standing ovation for one of the hometown heroes that they are honoring here at Truist Park. Now those folks, their son passed away serving our great country. What an emotional thing. Can't imagine what's going through their minds, what they've been through, but nice of the Braves to bring them on the field and honor them here tonight.
Really well done. Great reception by our fans as well. And a little sobering moment here in the middle of a Major League Baseball game, and some good perspective, I think, for everyone.
Yep, no question about it. And we talked tonight about the football jersey giveaway. There's going to be another crossover giveaway with Ronald Acuna Jr. and a basketball jersey. How cool is that? First 15,000 fans are going to get that jersey. It's presented by Coca-Cola. Braves.com/promos. It's September 24th, folks. Braves.com/promos.
I have to get a few more arm days in to get ready for that jersey, you and I.
No, I just wear a t-shirt underneath it. Yeah,
old school.
Yeah. That's the last home game of the season, by the way. Hard to believe. September 24th, and what, we're only 6 weeks from that. So Suter does his job at the top of the inning. Now Lavender is on here for the bottom of the inning.
Just a 3rd game here for Nate Lavender with the New York Mets. Again, opportunity all over the place right now. And so far what we have seen from him is a 4-seam fastball at 93, slider, changeup, and sweeper.
Yeah, just made his debut August 4th, 6 days ago. Had a couple of elbow injuries prevent him from getting up sooner, but he's getting his opportunity here after they emptied that bullpen at the deadline.
Ooh, man.
Sean, you could tell he thought about it, but he's not going to do it. .26-year-old rookie lefty with a 1-2 pitch here to the Braves catcher. Fouling back an 89-mile-per-hour slider.
So you mentioned some of the time that he had missed. 111 games in the minor leagues over the course of his career, and really good strikeout rate. Nearly 14 strikeouts per 9. 244 of those in 158 innings. So generating some swing and miss as a minor leaguer.
Unfortunately, Murphy gets a little whiff of lavender there as the first out in the bottom of the 6th.
Nice. Elevated again. It's not big time velocity. It's 93 miles an hour. But what he also has is pretty unbelievable extension of nearly 7 feet. So that ball is right on top of you out of the hand.
Guys, you all are on me about the elephant. BG just got away with a whiff of lavender.
So great. He didn't. I giggled. He had me on it.
How long you been holding on to that one?
Well, I guess when CJ started to talk about swing and miss, it kind of hit me. There was an opportunity there, but I didn't want it to happen because it's not good for the Bravos, Birdie.
Yeah,
well, no. Somehow I smiled after that strikeout from the Braves.
If the Braves win, elephant at Birdie's house. Left field. This one's going to go foul. Now, we can't eat elephant, but back in my hometown of Evansville, Indiana, they have the Fall Festival, and they have what's called the elephant ear, which is basically just a big fried funnel cake with powdered sugar and cinnamon on it. So maybe that's what we'll do.
Probably scared a couple of kids, though, with the thought of it.
Yeah. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts here for Lavender. A message from Zaxby's.
10 wings, $10. At Zaxby's, the math is mathing. Zaxby's 10 for 10.
You cannot get an elephant ear at Zaxby's. Just good chicken.
It's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. Go to different parts of the world, and sometimes chain restaurants have a different menu. I was in Japan. The one that got me was, I forgot if they called it like the ebi burger or whatever it was, but essentially it was shrimp that was deep fried in a patty.
Ooh.
And put on a bun.
Was it good?
No, I didn't try it.
I don't know.
I'm scared to death of that. I was like, where's my filet-o-fish? I'd rather eat whatever's in that filet-o-fish than the shrimp. The old ebi burger.
Acuna's going to challenge this one.
Called strike, batter's challenge.
ABS system getting a workout.
Ball's overturned. Line up to remain.
And the players up 5-0 right now on the ABS scoreboard. And it could be higher.
Corey Blazer, he's been around for a while. Major League umpire since 2010. He's worked over 1,200 games, multiple postseason series, but some overturns tonight. That one's outside, and a 2-out walk for Acuna. Always love when this guy strolls to the plate representing the tying run.
And Matty really doesn't play with a lot of emotion in the sense where his emotions carry him in a different place, but he was not too happy after that last strikeout where there's an opportunity with a couple of runners on, and somebody might have to pay for that.
Yeah, that was back in the 4th. Slammed his helmet down. Directly at Young on one sharp hop to end the 6th inning. It's 7-5 Mets. Braves Vision is powered by Southern Company. It's been a while since the Freeze has had a close race. Cruise to the finish line here tonight.
He did.
Almost a little too confident.
I was going to say, is that a little Euro toward the finish line?
Seventh inning here, 7-5. First pitch, little bloop, and Ozzie in the outfield grass. So another inning here for Suter, who has thrown 27 pitches.
A couple of people tagged us today. I think they tagged you in it as well. Not sure. Were you a Dukes of Hazzard fan as a kid?
I missed it by a little bit.
All right.
My older brother and my sister, who's the oldest, they watched it. So I was kind of around, but I was running around in a diaper, didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, a little bit of a sad story.
So.
Ben Jones, who played Cooter in the Dukes of Hazzard, crazy Cooter coming at you. I was a big fan as a kid. Passed away yesterday, had a heart attack actually, and I believe it was his wife who mentioned it. Said he was waiting for the Braves Yankee game to start when he had his heart attack. So a huge Braves fan. He had been a U.S. rep in Congress for the state of Georgia. But for those of us, and there are a lot of us, I think, in my generation, who absolutely loved the Dukes of Hazzard, it kind of blows me away to think that he would be watching our broadcasts. Yeah. To be honest with you, as a Braves fan. So sad moment certainly, but a great life and a great career for Crazy Cooter.
I remember that car and how iconic it was.
I had the lunchbox too. The lunchbox was big.
Hey, stay tuned for the stretch, fueled by Georgia Natural Gas. Nick and Pete stretching for the stretch in the Battery right now.
And I think if I remember, I was reading a story. I should have checked this first. That the Boar's Nest is actually in Georgia, like the bar that they hung out in Hazard County is somewhere in rural Georgia here.
Simeon went fishing, 2 down.
Suter has looked great here so far. Just the 1 walk and a couple of strikeouts.
He's fun to watch, man. He's just a little fidgety, but in an endearing way, and he just gets it and goes.
It's good pace. It's high energy. He's a fun guy, no doubt, to play behind because of the pace that he keeps, because he's throwing strikes. And again, a lot of baseballs that are on the ground, which I've talked about it before. It keeps your infielders engaged.
Here's a grounder. Jarvis charging. Jarvis throwing. Jarvis ending the top of the 7th. Good work by Brent Suter. That sends us to the stretch.
Welcome to the stretch, fueled by Georgia Natural Gas. Service, savings, sustainability. It's that simple.
Welcome to the stretch, fueled by Georgia Natural Gas. Nick Green and Peter Moylan here with you. Peter, I want to give some love to Matt Olson. Played his 900th consecutive game yesterday. That's 8th most all time. He not only plays every single day, Peter, but he performs at an extremely high level.
Yeah, it's one thing to show up every day. It's another thing to perform the way that he has been, especially with the consistency you look at this year, Greeny. We talk about the ability to limit the slumps, limit the length of the slumps, and stay consistent. That's what the best do, and that's what Matt Olson has done this year, proving why he is one of the best in the game, if not the best first baseman in the game. It's the pitches that he gets to that he's not supposed to that also makes him a difference maker. When he comes left on left, and that sinker comes down and in and almost bounces, and somehow he puts the barrel on it and hits out in center field, that's the difference maker. That's what makes him as good as he is.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. It's been fun to see him play every single day, and Walt Weiss obviously appreciates that as well. The Braves currently trail 7-5 as we head to the bottom of the 7th. Here's a quick word from our friends at Georgia Natural Gas.
When it comes to natural gas in Georgia, G&G leads the league. We keep it simple with great rates that save you money. We even make it easy to reduce your carbon footprint with greener life. Sign up in minutes at gng.com. It's that simple.
You see the score. Braves down by 2. They're working their way back. You know who's been unbelievable in the second half since they got to the league? You guessed it, Michael Harris Jr. Unbelievable. He's our Coors Light career cold, hard fact. Check it out, guys. He dominates. You see the numbers. Why is this important? In baseball, it's the term. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. I really like that he's on our team getting ready for what could be a team built for the playoffs. Don't want to get too excited too early, guys.
Yeah, and how about a couple of guys that are in the building tonight? Bo Bichette at the very top of that list as well. But good news for Michael going back to last year, especially in the way that he was able to finish strong, and the expectation as it carried over at the beginning of this year that this is kind of the new Michael. He has found a lot of consistency in what he's been able to do at the plate.
1 for 3 tonight, singled and scored back in the 5th. That's the last run of the game. Oh, home run distance, but well foul. Snuck it right under the Braves vision side.
Those are some folks that had zero anticipation of getting a foul ball. You mentioned the other ones, and I agree. There's just not a lot of room to get it into that suite.
Lavender back out there for another inning of work.
Oh, yeah.
Is it fair? It is. Right on the chalk. It bounces away from Beatty, so it's an easy double for Harris. Both of his hits to the opposite field tonight.
Can't teach it. Little four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, and I don't think Michael was aiming it here down the line, but it worked out perfectly. Oh, I guess did they have a change? Is it Pache?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Pache came in for Beatty out there. And the ball instantly finds him. And, you know, Drake and Michael have embraced that celebration. So. And that's going to be it for Lavender. We'll tell you about the pitching change when we get back.
School is back.
Here is Daniel Duarte.
It's been good. 11 games so far, really low ERA. Strikeout rate sits around league average with 23%, but a low batting average against both lefties and righties. A lot of cutters and sweepers before you get to the 4- and 2-seam fastball.
Ozzie lines it into the net.
He does have a changeup, but he'll pretty much only use it to the left-handed hitters about 20% of the time.
Mets got up 5-0 in the top of the first. The Braves have closed it to within 2. And a chance here to get even closer. Cutter a little up.
Long look there from Ozzie to Alvarez. Like, come on, you know that was a ball. Stop playing. Thirteen strikeouts here so far in his 15 1/3, but 8 of them on the sweeper, and we saw it with Christian Scott as well. All right, some pretty good sweepers coming out of these Mets arms.
Delivering another 1-2 and another foul ball. So it's August 10th, 2026. August 13th of last year, the Braves overcame a 6-run deficit against the Mets. That was their largest deficit that they had overcome since 2019. Can they overcome a 5-run deficit tonight? Still a little work to do. 2-2. Out to left center field. It is caught by Pache. A very good defender, just his 5th major league game of the year. Again, he's out there for his glove.
Well, that looked really nice off the bat and looked like he was going to get into the gap. Change up here that Ozzie drills the other way. 96 off the bat there. Just a little bit too much hang time. And they got some coverage. They got athletes out there now. All 3 of the guys that are in the outfield for the New York Mets.
Of course, Pache, originally a Brave, signed with the Braves out of the Dominican. 24 games with him in 20 and 21, and this is another one hit his way, and he makes the catch.
He was part of that deal that ultimately landed the Atlanta Braves Matt Olson.
Worked out pretty well for Atlanta.
Sure did.
And because he had some time with the Braves in 21, Pache did get himself a World Series ring. The Mets are going to be down to 1.
Strong ball catch, Johnson.
He just said that's a ball.
New York has 1 remaining.
It's interesting, right? The instincts, almost sometimes I feel like momentum, emotion will come into. We mentioned pitchers and how you really don't want them challenging because of that. I think Alvarez, that was an emotional call on his part.
He won't do it again. Sharp to short. 7 innings gone by in a 7-5 ball game. (7-5) as we start the 8th. Hey, HBCU night presented by Truist is coming up on Friday, August 28th here at Truist Park. You can purchase the HBCU ticket package. Gives you a game ticket, a Braves snare drum bobblehead, and access to the pregame party at the Roxy, the Coca-Cola Roxy. So it's a great deal. Braves.com/HBCU to secure your ticket now. Suter returns for the 8th. He's got 8-9-1 in the order.
So 3 times this season where he has gone at least 3 innings, and Walt trying to get 3 out of him so far here tonight. And when he has had those extended outings, they've gone really well. Combined 9 2/3 where he's only given up 1 earned run when he has gone 3 or more this year.
Well, you noted it earlier, but he's a fresh arm. He pitched on the 1st, but then just that 1 game from with Atlanta since on the 6th. And now he's got a 2-2 count here on Polanco.
He's also been up to as many as 55 pitches. So as you look at that pitch count number 40 on the way here next, and I think Walt would absolutely love it if he can get through this 8th.
Well, that's a good start. Murphy almost tripped over his helmet, and eventually Matt Olson calls him off.
The effective speed, even though Brent Suter is not going to light up the radar gun, right? That pitch there at 89 miles an hour goes up a tick or 2. He's such a big guy, and he does get pretty incredible extension. Previous fastball was 7 feet 4 inches. That is a full foot longer than league average.
He was stopped from going into that extension there by home plate umpire Corey Blazer.
So you dip into the coffee tonight, night like tonight, and might have made a mistake, and Alfredo's making his Cuban coffee today.
He offered me that before the game,
Scared?
and I turned him down because I was scared.
I turned him down. I felt terrible doing it.
Alvarez out into right center for a 1-out single.
Wasn't a great weekend in New York for eating. There was a lot of carbs. There was a lot of sugar, and so I was trying to keep it straight without the great sugar, though those Cuban coffees are amazing. Fastball here, 89 miles an hour, hit the other way by Alvarez.
With how little caffeine I drink, I thought that might send me to the moon. So,
or just, you know, could put you down a really uncomfortable path where all of a sudden you're instantly hooked, and now you're trying, where do I get my Cuban coffee?
I'm also trying to avoid that. Lineup card rolls over here. A.J. Ewing. 1 for 4.
What's going on here with this changeup? 71 miles an hour elevated. You don't see. It's a lot of weird.
Oh! Suter flips it over, and they get Alvarez napping.
So we told you this last time that he is such a great move, and since he has entered baseball, he's around top 5 or 6. They're going to challenge it for pickoffs, but he's got way less innings than everybody else. Obviously, the Mets are comfortable making a challenge here, but gosh, I hope they're wrong, because look at that lead. That is ridiculous. He's not even looking.
On the field is out at
That's
first
amazing.
base. New York is challenged.
Come on, go!
Chance of Visconti, first base umpire.
Oh, I kind of like that view for us, better than the other one. Alvarez hasn't had a stolen base since 2024. I think they got him. What do you think?
I don't see enough evidence to overturn it.
That is such a great view, by the way. Alvarez is looking at home that we showed you that first replay, and Brent Suter's throwing over, and the level of panic. Oh my goodness. This one right here. This is so great. Watch Alvarez. What's going on at home? Nothing. The ball's coming to first. Heads up. He never saw it. He just heard his first base coach yell back.
Unless there's a different view, which there might be, I don't think this gets overturned.
That's something. I mean, that was what, a 1.5 step lead, maybe.
First time we've had the review since that long first inning review on that double in right field. Here's the verdict.
After review, the call on the field stands. Runners out. New York loses their challenge for the remainder of the game.
So it stands. They couldn't confirm it, but it's an out. 2 down.
First time in the career of Francisco Alvarez that he has been picked off. You could understand why not too many pitchers are going to be concerned about him stealing bases or getting big leads. And again, it is one of the best moves in the majors.
And just like that, with a little frozen pizza, the side is retired.
We have got to win this ball game based on everything that's been going on, especially the unbelievable performance of Brent Suter.
Atlanta Brave was a darn good one. 3 innings, 3 strikeouts, just 1 hit, no runs.
He's fun to watch, aggressive, and talking about that pickoff move. And Martine's probably like, come on, man, how'd you pick him off? Like, Martine's got a good move. He holds runners well, but that was an entertaining pickoff.
Yaz is going to step in and hit here for Jarvis, but right now a pitch count issue for Duarte. Talking about all the comeback wins this year for Atlanta. That's our Georgia Natural Gas Greener Life Impact Play. 3rd place, 3 behind the D-backs.
This would be a really good one to have, right? Everything that has gone on here, some bad luck in that first inning. Braves been able to hold on. Brent Suter just gives you 3 great innings out of the bullpen to keep it exactly where it is. And certain games have feels, and this game has a feel that we'd like to be talking about a Braves win at the end of it. Making now 23 pickoffs for Brent Suter since he first joined the league. Max Fried still at the top of that list with 36.
Still talking about it, making everybody laugh over there.
He may have had a Cuban coffee or 2 before the game. It's possible.
I think his nickname is Cuban Coffee with how much he just is always energized. All right, now everybody's pitch comm is working. A cutter low here to Yastrzemski. They're going to try to get another inning out of Daniel Duarte.
With the way that Braves have been using this roster and using Mike Yastrzemski, this is now his 24th plate appearance as a pinch hitter, more than he's had in any single season.
Yaz pops it up. Foul ground. Into the net, but the catch is made by Alvarez, trying to make amends for being picked off over there at first.
You were just hoping, Yaz certainly was, that this ball would continue to make its way into the stands or at least into the net, but just enough room there for Alvarez to make the catch.
Going to have another pinch hitter. Dom Smith batting for Murphy. Braves down to their final 5 outs. Nobody has scored since inning number 5. That's when the Braves got a run on the wild pitch to make it 7-5.
Dom didn't like it. As you see, Victor Medeiros taking some warm-up tosses down in the Braves bullpen, very likely coming in for the 9th inning. They don't want to waste the challenge, and I understand why, even though you got 2. Goes both ways, right? Alvarez already lost one. You got one left. When you're leading, you probably don't want to burn it unless you're 100% confident.
Hitters count for Dominic Smith. 3-1. And the former Met will take his base with a walk. Nobody throwing right now for the Mets.
Yeah, which is interesting, right? One out, you get to this part of the lineup now where you're essentially including Ozzie. 4 of your next 5 are left-handed.
At the knees, Drake Baldwin a double and an RBI single tonight. And now they're going to get some action going. Kodai Senga. To left field, Pache will get to it. Little chat here. Justin Willard back to the mound.
Yeah, wanting to reinforce a strategy right now. It's a huge moment with Ronald representing the tying run. Ronald did face Duarte back on July 27th. Excuse me, Duarte. 8-pitch at bat where he ended up striking out on a sweeper.
After the Braves got down 5 on 2 separate occasions, this crowd hoping for something to cheer about with a former MVP at the plate. And again, the Braves have won 9 in a row in this building, 39-20 here this season. Only the Rays have a better home record. That one missed up, but no challenge. Acuna line drive right center. Diving attempt at a catch by Ewing. And it still is 7-5 as we go to the 9th.
He hit it hard, 100 miles an hour. Nice play in center field there by A.J. Ewing.
All right, so Yaz stays in the game. He's in left. That pushes Dubon to short. And then with Murphy being pinch hit for, Drake Baldwin is now your catcher. And there's also a new pitcher, and that is Victor Medeiros.
Victor Medeiros comes in, the right-hander, using that cutter four-seam fastball, two-seamer the most. There's a changeup sweeper, a couple sliders that he has thrown this year as well, but he's been good. He's also did a nice job picking up a couple of wins out of the bullpen. Be a good night for that.
Francisco Lindor, a double and a homer so far tonight. For the Mets, as we stated earlier, their closer Devin Williams on the IL today. It looks like it'll be Kodai Senga for the 9th. He's still warming. And the 5-time All-Star has a 3-hit game as he flips it out to left field. Made a big turn at first, but Lindor will go back.
Changeup from Medeiros, and Lindor stays on it really well. And you can see kind of that split grip that you get, or what we call that tweener Foch type of changeup. Short, just kind of punch it out to left field, and it was a big turn, and that would have been a mistake by Francisco Lindor.
All in all this year for Bo Bichette, not great numbers in his first season in Queens, but he has been hitting the ball much better as of late, as has the entire team.
Be fascinated to see. We talked about this last time, what he ultimately decides to do with the opt-out. The time he has to make that decision, they very likely will not have named a manager for next year. Huge money, though, better than $40 million on those player options the next 2 years.
Yeah, 3 years, $126 million. That was the total deal. But again, as CJ said, opt-outs after both of the first two. So interesting contract for Bo Bichette. Right on the inside corner, 2-2. They're going to be a challenge. I think the Mets are going to be out of them here.
I would agree, and this is a mistake if they are. Yeah.
Calls confirmed. New York is out of challenges.
I get the frustration. You're feeling like it's in off the plate, but now you put your team in a situation where they don't have any to use.
Matt Olson looking at the net, going over and running out of real estate. And a full count here. In his career, he has been a hits machine. Twice he led the American League in hits with the Blue Jays. He was second in that category last year with Toronto before coming over to the Mets. He awaits a 3-2 pitch. And he takes a pitch inside. And now you've got 2 on with nobody out as the Mets look for some insurance.
And Jeremy Hefter is going to come out right now to talk to Victor Medeiros, because this is huge, right? The idea of being one hitter away from getting on base in the bottom of the ninth with a chance to tie. You don't want to get any further away.
I also think about the Braves having Olson, Harris, and Ozzie scheduled. It's a real opportunity there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, right? Obviously, they did not go with the other lefty that they have in their bullpen in Yan, but they're going to go with the righty Senga, the veteran, but he is a starter. With lefties that are due, and he has struggled against left-handed hitters this year. So again, it becomes extremely important that, no shocker, he's smiling down there, having the time of his life as always. But really important that there's not damage done this inning.
Wow. 94 right in on Carson Bench to load the bases with nobody out.
Just overthrown here. It's a cutter and just takes off. 94 keeps going and going, and we've seen a couple of bad misses this inning from Medeiros, which we really hadn't seen much of. Braves have got to bring the infield in right now to try to cut this runoff.
With Young at the plate. Mets have not scored since the 3rd inning, but they have a golden opportunity to add on right now in the top of the 9th. And this will get a run home. Lindor tags. It is 8-5.
Danny Young tossing in the Atlanta Braves bullpen right now as well. And again, it becomes pretty important. You start looking at where they are here in the lineup. You got a lefty and a switch hitter due after Semien.
Semien about to be 1 for 5 tonight. Infield fly rule in effect. So Luis Robert Jr. is going to hit for Pache. They got a couple of arms going down there for the New York Mets with his 3-run lead.
Yeah, I think McDermott gets up in case things get extended anymore.
And the veteran Luis Robert Jr. A lot of speculation he might be traded at the deadline. He obviously was not. Still in that Mets uniform for the rest of the way.
Does this seem unusual to you that he would pinch hit here?
With a righty.
Beatty had the grand slam earlier.
Yeah. Well, but Pache replaced him.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, and Pache is not a great hitter.
Well, that makes perfect sense. I should probably keep up with what's going on in the game.
Got him to expand. 1-2. Two men on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes as Medeiros deals, and he strikes him out. All right, the Braves need 3 with 3, 4, 5 coming up in the order, starting with Matty O, then Michael Harris and Ozzie Albies. (8-5) on to the bottom of the 9th. A game 2 of the series tomorrow. Martin Perez against Nolan McLean.
It's going to be a good matchup, certainly, and Martin has been excellent. Nolan McLean's got a live arm, and so this will be what feels like a tight game between these two.
And the Mets turning to a former starter who got demoted to the bullpen role in late June, and this is the first save opportunity here for Kodai Senga.
The last time he had a save in any game, you got to go back to 2014. He was 21 years old, pitching for the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks. In the minor leagues, he picked up a save. The year before that, at 20 years old, he also had a save in the big leagues in Japan.
So he has not been in this spot in a long time, and he faces Matt Olson. Olson comes up swinging, 99 there from Senga. July 3rd, Olson against, well, that was Minter. Hitting a homer here against the Mets.
Yeah, a big one late, and we'd like another big one here late for Matt Olson. But he's taken Senga deep before. 3 for 7 with 1 home run in his career against Kodai Senga. That was back on July 3rd of this year, where Matt Olson was a 7-pitch at bat here in Atlanta.
Yeah, that was the Country Roads homer that he hit with Senga on the mound. That is downstairs, a challenge. They don't have any.
Nope.
Alvarez maybe forgetting.
He's like, don't you remember you wasted that one?
Now 2 balls, 2 strikes.
So they put Senga in the bullpen in his first 3 outings, and one of them was a 5-inning outing. He had given up a home run in each of them. Now, since then, he has settled down a little bit more. Over his last 4, he's gone 4 1/3. He's given up 2 runs. The walks have been a little bit of an issue.
Now, Luis Robert staying in the game. He's out in center. And they moved Ewing to left. Another 2-2 pitch. Liner foul. The Mets have not won the season series against Atlanta since 2017. That's how lopsided this series has been between these two. But the Mets have a chance to wrap up a season series victory tonight. And Senga gets him 1 step closer.
You're going to see a look at this forkball. Why is it a forkball compared to a split? It gets really wide. The spin on it is very low, and some really good depth from Senga on that forkball.
Last 2 times for Harris, a single and a double, both to the opposite field. And he's 3 for 7 with 3 singles against Senga. Think back to that first inning. If you weren't with us, there was an 8-minute review on a ball in right field that was ultimately a double, but the could have been strike him out, throw him out double play that wasn't challenged, and then Beatty hits the grand slam, and instead of getting out of that thing 1-0, it was 5-0 Mets, and they've led ever since. And now the Braves down to their final out here, and once again it's that forkball from Senga.
Well, it hasn't been where he's wanted it this year, but so far tonight, and you can see how much ground that is covering. That's starting about belt high and finishing in the dirt. It's been good. I think that moment obviously was a big one, and also the 7th inning, the leadoff double, and the Braves were unable to get that run across the board at a time when they were down by 2. I think changes the scope of this. It just felt like that's when the comeback was about to happen. Albies, Dubon, and Riley. That's when Duarte came in the game and was able to get out of it.
Yeah, you get it to 7-6 there, even if you only get 1 in that inning, it has a different feel. Ozzie will try to extend the game. Dubon on deck. fire starts with a spark. Ozzie down to first.
It's only one at-bat for Mauricio Dubon in his career against Kodai Senga. It was back on that same July 3rd game. Ended up striking out on a slider.
Ozzie will take second here. And Dubon with that 2 RBI single back in the first. He now has 60 RBI on the season. Career high. Has never hit 60 before. Right field. This should end it. Binge squeezes, and the Mets win game 1 of this series behind a big first inning. 8-5 the final.
Yeah, ended up being the difference in a frustrating one in that first inning, but it also felt like the momentum was shifting. Brent Suter did a really nice job out of the bullpen tonight with his 3 shutout innings, but the Braves offense tonight, as good as it has been, was unable to come back against the New York Mets. And Kodai Senga wants that baseball because that is his first career big league save. They throw it away.
I don't know if
Carson Bench threw that baseball away.
Oh, he did, away. And Bench just put his hands on his head like, I'm sorry, he had no idea. Well, the Mets, I'm sure, will try to get it back.
Says, thanks a lot, rookie.
We'll be back in a moment.